I have no idea if this is a good idea or not. Probably not, but we're gonna do it anyway. Um, okay, it is starting. Cool. I hope everything works all right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It's your host, Michelle, aka Chat-Mort, and thank you so much for turning once again to my humble little channel. So, I'm here now. Welcome. You are also here. You're not here yet, but I'm I wanted to stream because I haven't streamed in a long time on here. Um, so I'm doing that now. Would you stop? You stupid freaking piece of garbage phone. Sorry, everything's fine. Everything is totally in control. Um, this is how I wanted everything to go, I assure you. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to share that I'm doing this on Twitter. So, I I just wanted to say hi and stream a little bit because I just haven't recently. I've been streaming a lot on Twitch. I've been working on some like scripted traditional videos, obviously, but I've not just like hung out and chatted with you guys in a while. It's weird. Like once I start doing one thing, it's hard for me to go back and do another. Like whether I'm like in making scripted video mode or whether I'm doing a bunch of Twitch streams. Or if it's just doing this, just streaming on my normal channel here with you guys periodically. It's like whatever I do, I get stuck doing that, and it's hard for me to like remember how to behave appropriately, almost, for lack of a better way to explain it. Like, I don't know. It's just hard for me to like switch modes, and my basement is freaking freezing, so I have a blankie and stuff to try and not, die of freezingness. Yeah. Hold on. Okay. I have to respond to somebody here on Twitter. I need to do it soon. I need to get back to somebody because I got myself. Hi, Scribe. Hi, Jamesy. Thank you. It's so good to hear that I'm valued. I'm so glad that people are saying this totally kind, genuine thing out of nowhere that was in no way required or requested of them. That's so sweet. Yeah, like somebody on Twitter, somebody said something that I thought was ridiculous, so I responded to it. I quote retweeted it, and everybody responded to her and is mad at her. So I need to get back to this girl soon. She's like, why did you do that? And everybody's misinterpreting what I said. So it's one of those things where like I have to get back to this person, and I have to, whenever anything goes wrong, like whenever somebody says you misinterpreted what I said, or when somebody gets upset with me, whether I misinterpreted what they said or not, I always get super anxious. Like one of my worst fears is mistakenly saying something inaccurate or taking something out of context online. So the problem is when I think that is happening, I then have to take a long time to like obsessively reread what they said to see whether I misinterpreted it or not, and I have to obsessively reread my response to them that was supposedly misinterpretation to see whether I did misinterpret it or not, or if there were any typos or autocorrects on my disaster of a phone. So anyway, I'm gonna have to go through that whole process, and I hate that, and I hate it because like when people get upset with you, sometimes they're in the right, and obviously it's always hard and embarrassing to be like, I'm sorry, I was totally in the wrong there, although that's the right thing to do when you have to do it. Sometimes they're going to be mad at you no matter what you say. Sometimes you have to say like, no, I didn't misinterpret what you said, or you misunderstood what I said if you think I'm taking it out of context, and then that creates more problems and all this stuff. So I don't know. I'm anxious about that. So I have to get back to this person, and sometimes like mentally I make things into things. Like if something becomes a thing in my head, I like freak out about it and I overanalyze it, and then instead of being able to get back to somebody promptly and kind of informally, I guess, then it becomes this thing where I put it off for like several minutes to several hours because I have to like devote all of my attention to it, all of my analytical power to it. Like I make things into things, and then when they're things, it's bad because then it becomes an issue for everyone that it doesn't need to be. Does that make sense? I highly doubt it. Blankies are allowed. Good. Yes, I'm sorry. I just do that all the time. I burp without thinking about it. So, I don't know. Eventually somebody's going to be very offended by that and tell me how offended they are. But it's a horrific habit that I cannot kick. It's too late now. Come here, Muffin Man. Hey, you're sniffing a... What are you doing? Please don't. Please don't do this. No, stop. That's not a gummy bear for you to eat. These are my gummy bears. These are ancient, stale, disgusting, like rock hard gummy bears, and they're not for you. Can you please go away? Domino has threaded himself between my like pop guard thing and my microphone. Please stop. Please don't kick my microphone. I've already got bad connection issues with it as it is. Here. All of the stale gummy bears are now going in the trash. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. That was probably deafening. Please, Domino, please stay away from the wiring. This is not good. This is wrong. I'm going to throw a bottle cap. Go. Did you see that amazing thing just happen? Go over there. Go get it. Go away from my computer, please. Go away. Look, Muffin Man. Look, Mr. Muffin. Whoa, it's over there now. Go over there, please. It didn't work. Great. I am stuck with a fuzzy man now. Can you please not do this? Mr. Muffin, come here. Come here, Mr. Muffin. Come here. It's snuggle time now. Your punishment is a snuggle. No escape, just snuggle. Here, say hello to everybody, handsome man. Oh, my eyeball. Oh, okay. Well, he said hello. Domino's gotten much bigger since you guys last saw him, probably. He is growing so fast. He's like, how old are Cammy and Domino? Like, I'm trying to think. They're probably like 9 months old. And Domino's already bigger than Nemi and Mira, who are like a month under 2 years old. So it's amazing. And Cammy's still tiny, so it's freaking adorable. I know the 1-ton hammer. I know. It's ridiculous. I don't understand why people get mad when you burp, like, on a microphone. Hi, bye. Okay. Bye, VGC. Nice to see you, I think, very briefly. But, like, I'm in my basement. I'm hanging out with people I consider to be my friends. So it's, like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna burp a little bit, especially if I'm drinking a beer or like a Diet Coke or something, which I do all the time when I stream. I value your burping. Thank you. And yes, I know, Assassin, my kitty did demand attention. They snuck in the room when I came in earlier, and so now they're just all in here, and wrangling them is a nightmare, so I'm just stuck with them in here for a while. What did you say, Jamesy? I had to make a video today defending Cuomo on CNN. I've taken 6 showers and I still feel very dirty. Blech. That's funny. That's important, though. It's very important because, you have to have intellectual consistency. And if people do take something out of context and you notice it, it's your responsibility to point it out. And if you're willing to defend people when they're in the right, even if you disagree with them most of the time or they're like not on your political side, that solidifies... Domino, can you please go away? That solidifies your credibility and your honesty to an extent. Long time watcher, first time streamy. Yes. Welcome. How do you say your name? Is it Sheogorath? Sheogorath? It's a pretty name. I like it. However you pronounce it. And I know I'm in top chat. I apologize. The problem here is that stupid... Can you... Look, buddy, I love you. You're my best friend, but can you not do this? Please? Thank you. Yes, come back up on the desk. My cat's like behind my monitors, walking around in the wiring. This is a nightmare. I should have like tried to shoo them out before I started this, but I didn't because I'm a fool. Domino, please. For heaven's sake. Stop, Muffin. He's the worst muffin in the world. He truly is. Come here. Please stop. There's nothing there. That's a scratchy spot on the desk. Come here. Step away from the microphone, please. Domino. Stop. Come here. Come sit with Mama. No, Mira. This is a disaster. Everything's wrong. Oh my God. This is going to go real bad real soon, isn't it? Mira, come over here so they can see you, sweet girl. Come here, Smoofy. Moofy! Okay, Moofy's leaving. Never mind. For God's sake. I apologize for being in top chat. I have it set to live chat, like I'm watching live chat, but on my stupid stream, somehow it like always resets to top chat when you put the browser source into OBS. Like I don't know if it's an OBS thing or like a YouTube thing. It's probably a YouTube thing. They don't want you to be able to show live chat on your stream, which is so stupid. So freaking stupid. I don't know. Watching Doom Patrol. Nemo says he's doing. I see. Rick is on your shirt. I see you two are an intellectual. I have, I have, like, for every, Rick shirt I have 10 IQ points. And I have a lot of Rick and Morty shirts. How's that? That makes me sound, I don't know. It only makes me sound egotistical if you know the extent of my Rick and Morty obsession, which should be concerning to everyone. Shiogorath. Okay, that's a really cool name. I like that. And hi, Allie. Welcome. Actually, that's funny. Yeah, Mira did troll me. She is the sassiest, most mischievous baby in the world. She's so bad. Really? It defaulted to live chat for you. Interesting. How odd. Yeah, like, I don't know what I'm doing in OBS. Clearly, I taught myself pretty much everything I know. Like, it was really nice when Jeff made some, like, OBS tutorials sort of on YouTube, and I kind of watched them too. I don't know how. I think maybe I have to, after I try and copy and paste the browser thing, I have to change something manually in the link, perhaps, when I'm pasting that browser source into OBS. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. Can you guys stop eating stale gummy bears? That's probably, like, toxic for you. Please? Kittens? I had some gummy bears because I felt like buying something at a gas station. For no reason in particular, just on a whim. Just felt like spending money that I shouldn't be spending. I bought, are they Haribo brand gummy bears, I think? And something has happened with my teeth where, like, if I eat something sugary like gummy bears, it's excruciatingly painful. And so I ate a couple of them. What I was doing is, like, I was playing Dead by Daylight for the first time ever on Friday. So I was really anxious, like, between matches. I was obsessively, like, categorizing my gummy bears by color. And I ate some of them, and then my teeth started hurting. So I stopped eating them because I also was trying not to die repeatedly. And then I just left the gummy bears out because for some reason my brain just, like, short circuits when it comes to putting food items away specifically. So when you've got cats, not putting food items away means they're going to get eaten or scattered decoratively all over your house. And that's what happened with the gummy bears. So they're very stale, they're very old, and the cat's like gnawing on them. It's great. And before someone says I'm abusing my cats for them eating a tiny gummy bear this big. What's brown and sticky? A stick. God bless you. That's very nice. Are you an OBS master 1 ton hammer? The 1 ton hammer? I don't know which words to randomly choose to refer to you as out of your name. That's nice. I might have to ask you for some advice because I don't know what I'm doing wrong exactly. Shiogorath is the mad god from an Elder Scrolls Oblivion expansion. Oh, okay. Okay. I knew it sounded extremely vaguely familiar, but I had no idea why. I've never played any of the Elder Scrolls games. I have to learn OBS if I'm going to start support shows on behalf of the Dark Lord Magog and side quest. Yes. Yes. I need to rewatch a bunch of side quest because I know Weibo slot is open now, and I have been extended an invitation, and that absolutely freaking terrifies me. I'm so scared of attention. I don't know why I do this to myself, because I'm petrified of attention. So I need to, I don't know. I need to get over myself. I need to start streaming with other people. I need to start being on other people's channels and collaborating with other people. And I'm just so scared that I've hardly done it at all. And Magog has been really, really cool. And Irate Bear a little bit too. They've both tried to encourage me to be more social to help my YouTube channel grow. And I'm such a baby that I'm really scared to like hang out with anybody or host anybody on my channel. Like I've had Scribe on once I think we discussed like a true crime thingy, and I've been on the Lords of the Night a couple times, but that's pretty much the extent of it because I'm just such a gigantic shy baby. It's so scary. I don't know if I like this beer. I'm trying to drink darker beer, like a grown-up, but I don't think I like it. If dark beers are like really, really smooth and they have like some kind of extra flavor to them, like coffee or pumpkin or I don't know, almond or something, I prefer them. But most of the time I just like light beer. But I'm trying to drink this stuff because I bought it. So every couple nights I'm trying to get one down. Oh, it's too dark. Hi again, Castaneda. Hi, Michelle. Are you officially offed? Are you officially off Zoloft / Paxil / Prozac now? I am. I was on Zoloft and Wellbutrin. I know I need to make an update video on all that stuff. I'm off of Zoloft completely. I weaned myself off of it. Like, sort of, I'm sure you remember all that. I sort of consulted with my doctor to do so, but she is not a specialist in that regard. And the counselor, it was a weird situation for me. Like, I saw a psychologist who, like, prescribed it. But, she worked under a psychiatrist, so she could not prescribe me medication, but she would let him review all of her notes and stuff, and he would prescribe medication. So anyway, the woman who prescribed me Zoloft, you're welcome, she moved. So because I do not still see like the doctor who prescribed Zoloft for me, I have to talk to my general like family doctor, and she doesn't know much about it, so she told me to go off of it extremely drastically, almost. Like, she wanted me to switch from like 150 milligrams just straight down to 100, then a week later from 100 to 50. Like, I've been on the highest dose that they can prescribe of this antidepressant for years. I've been on the highest dose of antidepressants they're allowed to prescribe for like half a decade. I would have probably ended up in ER. You know, I would have had vertigo so bad I couldn't have like moved my eyes without vomiting. I would have had to take like a month or two off work. So I did it more gradually than my doctor prescribed, because she's not a specialist in that, so she didn't really know how to advise me to do it. So I got off Zoloft altogether. I'm still on 150 milligrams of Wellbutrin a day. I have not started weaning myself off of that entirely, but I want to, because I still feel like numb most of the time. I feel very little emotion. Occasionally I do. Like, I feel mild emotion, but I don't feel a lot. I just feel like I'm in a fog all the time. Like, I feel like I'm just almost asleep all the time, and I want to stop that, and I know a big part of that is getting off of that medication. So yeah, that's my answer. I'm officially off Zoloft, Castaneda, but I'm still on Wellbutrin, which is another SSRI, so I need to get off of that, and I'll probably start that soon. Everyone just calls you Hammer. Okay, cool. Oh, you're running the Minion stream tonight. Oh, okay. Have a great stream. Hit me up on DM. I will. Thank you. Goodbye. I know you're gone already, but bye. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. I need to figure out what I'm doing wrong in stupid OBS here. Getting over anxieties involves steps, not leaps. I know. You're right, Assassin. I should probably... Maybe I should, like, bug Scribe more and have him on, or... I don't know. Like, I had a couple people on my channel a while back. Like, I met some of my good friends through Margaret McLennan when she was still on here. It's like old school Chat-Mort, but Margaret tried to have me be her co-host on her Straight Talk streams. And a bunch of surrounding circumstances caused her to not be a YouTuber anymore, essentially. And my social anxiety was so bad that first stream, I never got the chance to do another one. And I would have gotten better at it, but I was just so terrified that I didn't do well at all for a first stream, which I think is pretty normal between people. But I never got the opportunity to do better because Margaret doesn't do YouTube anymore, so it really sucks. But I met a bunch of my best friends through Margaret, and I had a couple of them on like a year and a half ago. We all chatted about stuff, and I just haven't had anybody on since. A lot of them aren't around anymore. Like Chat-Mort doesn't do YouTube stuff anymore, which I totally understand. You know, nobody is like obligated to do YouTube, and no one is entitled to any creator's content. But it just sucks. Like Satch, before we became friends, like his content is 100% my sense of humor. So like it sucks that a lot of those people are doing other things now, but I totally understand it and respect it. I might bug them and ask them to come on my channel again at some point, but it's just weird. Like everybody who was friends with Margaret around that time, there's just all this weird stuff that was happening. Like for months, all of us were having random people DM us all these super weird personal questions about Margaret that we didn't even know the answers to. So anything to do with that group of people, I'm almost kind of leery to talk to them publicly in any capacity. Like there was this weird instance where when I had all my friends on who I met through Margaret, somebody said something jokingly about her, and then I found later in my recommended videos, somebody used that clip of us all saying something very vague about her in their like investigative piece about why did she leave? Was she being stalked? What was going on in her personal life? And it was just bizarre to me, you know, to have something taken off of my channel without anybody notifying me. Like if I was going to do a response video to a small channel, I would let them know I was doing so. Or if I was using somebody's content in my video, I would let them know. Or I'd like to think that I would. And that didn't happen. And I think I said something snarky to that person like, wow, thank you so much for letting me know that you were taking a clip off of my channel and using it in this like little documentary you made. I really appreciate that. It's good to totally incidentally come across the fact that something that happened on my channel is being used as a narrative for something else. And that person was like, it was weird. That person was like, I tried to get a hold of you and you never answered. And I'm like, well, yeah, I had dozens of people, just random people DMing me, asking me all these weird questions about Margaret. And it was weird. So yeah, no, I didn't answer you, but I don't know. You know, if you put anything online, if you do anything publicly, as I do clearly all the time, I am inviting criticism. I am inviting people to interpret that content and integrate the information they glean from that content into their own narratives and perceptions of things. So to an extent, that's what you sign up for. So I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm so itchy. Please stop, nose. Please stop. The pollen count is really high today and I want to cry. I don't know. I could have some of them on again, but none of them do YouTube anymore, really. So I don't know. I do need to start taking some steps, though. I need to have somebody on, or I need to be on some other channels. I can tell there was a huge difference. Like, the first time Scribe invited me on Lords of the Night, I was petrified. It was last summer, and I was so scared. And, like this last time he had me on, I did so much better. I was still terrified. I still like stumbled over my words and I made up like 1 or 2 words, which is mortifying, being that I'm obsessed with the English language and grammar and learning big words and, you know, the thesaurus and just anything like that I'm fascinated by. So the fact that I like melded words together to make strange new words was horrifying. But you know, I was very nervous, but I still, like, I can see when I do those things that make me nervous, I'm improving. I'm doing better the more I do them. So you're right, I need to keep pushing myself a little bit. Um, Jamesy asked, do you like being scared maybe? Sort of. I mean, like, that's one of the reasons I've always been obsessed with horror games. Because I'm like a really, really like deeply sensitive person. I like almost anything that's mildly interesting that happens to me during the day will be integrated into my dreams that night. Stuff like that. Like I'm just deeply affected by totally mundane things. So horror games are not good for me, but like because I used to say this jokingly, but like because I feel so dead inside due to my crippling depression I had for years, like living in mortal terror, you know, being afraid for my life, being terrified and feeling that adrenaline rush, like legitimately is one of the only things that makes me feel alive. Like I was obsessed with Slender when that first came out. It was such a brilliant idea for a game. Five Nights at Freddy's I played a ton. Some really obscure like DS games and things like that, horror games I loved and stuff. So I do kind of like being scared, I suppose, to an extent. The Wonton Hammer Szechuan edition. I tried Szechuan something at like a Chinese buffet and it was good. But then when I ordered takeout from a Chinese restaurant, the Szechuan sauce was not good at all. I was very sad. I was very sad that I could not be one with Rick in that moment. It was very unfortunate. 8 hours ago, Jamesy said, I got the perfect stream for you if you're ever up past midnight. I can put you in touch with the host of the show. It's sold as a YouTuber creator hangout pretty much. That's very cool. I might have to bug you about that. 'Cause yeah, that would be cool. I need to hang out with people more and chat with people more so I can get over my anxiety. Like sometimes when I'm streaming, just like chatting with you guys, which I do a lot on this channel, never before with such an incredibly swaggy, perhaps the adjective might be, OBS setup. This is definitely the most artistically forward one I've done thus far. But like sometimes I get nervous, but I'm still pretty good at articulating my thoughts and stuff. And I need to get to the point where I'm comfortable enough hanging out with other people to where I'm not in fight or flight mode, you know, so I can string together analysis of what we're discussing and express myself calmly, because I still am very, very anxious about stuff like that and things. What are you eating? I do not know what Mira just ate. Having cats is like having toddlers that never stop being toddlers. It's amazing. It's the best. And you're welcome, Castaneda, for the update. Hope you're well. I'm doing pretty good. I've been trying to eat healthier, and I think the warm weather, or not the warm weather, but the sunlight at least has helped a lot with my depression, I think. So now the only problem is the ridiculous pollen count. So like my energy and my mood kind of peaked a couple weeks ago, and now it's plummeting again because my allergies are freaking horrific and absurd, and like doctors have never seen anything like it. So the littlest bit of pollen basically lays me out. It's the best. But thank you. I'm doing pretty well, I think. Describe what you're looking for in a co-host. Man or woman? Politics, casual, varied topics, high energy, easygoing. I haven't the slightest idea. I really don't. I don't know. It's one of those things where... Oh, thank you, Cheesy Tits. Welcome. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you're doing well. Cheesy Tits, your tweets are just like hysterically funny. They're like, I don't know why you don't have a bunch more followers, because so many of the things you say are relatable, but they're just like kind of quirky in the way they're delivered, and they're very endearing. I appreciate them a lot. But I just feel like I need to talk to a bunch of people to figure out who I have good chemistry with and who my viewers would enjoy hearing me kind of like bounce thoughts off of. I don't know. Describe what you're looking for in a co-host. Probably a male. For some reason, I get along with men better. I always have. I've always gotten along with guys better. And I don't I don't know why that is. I'm not trying to be like one of those girls who like, I'm not like other girls. I'm super cool and fun and laid back and I hang out with guys. I'm not like a girly girl. I'm not trying to, you know, give off that persona / vibe or anything. I don't know how to act around women, and I never have. Like, a couple of my best friends are girls, but a couple of them are guys too, and I don't know. It's one of those sad things where I think there's always like that sort of feeling of competition or being judged or not being good enough and constantly comparing yourself to people of the same gender, where with the opposite gender, as silly and archaic as that may seem, like, you don't feel that way as much. I don't know. Like, because there aren't so many similarities in like appearance or demeanor or what you prioritize or how you present yourself, you're just not, I don't feel as if I'm comparing myself as much to guys. Like, I feel like I tend to be able to connect with guys more than other women for some reason. So maybe a male co-host. I don't know. I'm not sure. Politics, casual, varied topics. Probably anything, because I'll talk about pretty much anything. There's very little I'm knowledgeable on, like when it comes to pop culture and stuff like that. I know very little. There are a couple like really oddly specific topics I know a lot about, but cultural commentary, political commentary is interesting to me. I have opinions about a lot of things, many of which are not asked for and are not appreciated when I share them, but that's what the internet's for, sharing opinions that nobody wants to hear. So I found the right place, I think. You played Dead Space. I've never played Dead Space. Navel gazing is depressive. What's navel gazing? I don't know what navel gazing is. I've got schwaglol. Well, I think so. When I first found this picture, just looking for glob, glow, gab, galab pictures, it blew my mind. Just the artistry, just the compositional beauty and harmony of it blew my mind. I didn't even know it was like an actual mashup of the Glob, Glow, Gab, Galab song and Snoop Dogg. It was great. I loved it. So I found a video and I tweeted it out and nobody cared because most people are normal. No, I'm not trying to Google the word navel phone. Stop. Useless or excessive self-contemplation. Oh, okay, I see. It is depressive. That's part of my problem because I'm so isolated. I like analyze myself too much. Like, it's good to be introspective to an extent, but beyond a certain point, it's just not constructive. You know, you have to get out into the world and interact with other people, and I'm bad. I don't do that a whole lot. I got my hair done recently, and it's all the strange little places where the colors start and stop are perplexing to me. I don't know what I'm seeing. I'm sorry. Dead Space will carry... English is my first language, I promise. Dead Space will scare the poop out of you. You'll love it. Maybe I should try it. What have I been playing recently? Well, I have a Twitch channel where I stream periodically. I'm trying to stream more often. And what I've been playing recently is just Don't Starve. I'm obsessed with Don't Starve. It's so much fun. And I played The Sims 4 a little bit just because I know very little about Twitch, so it was really, really unnerving. I was really nervous when I started, so I thought I will start with a very, very, what are you doing? Stop. I don't know what he's doing. I have no idea. I just started with a very laid-back game in the hopes that it would be less nerve-wracking than a more high-pressure game. And I think that was probably good. But I switched and I've been playing mostly Don't Starve on Twitch just because I just love that game, you know? Like, you have to find something that you enjoy at least a little bit in order to stream it regularly and be perceived as entertaining. So, I've been playing Don't Starve a lot. And The only other thing I've been playing is Dead by Daylight. I'm trying to get good at it. I have loved Dead by Daylight. The concept, the gameplay, just the fact that every killer makes it a completely different game. You know, it's just such a cool idea. I was like obsessed with it when it first came out, and I didn't have anybody to play with. So I've gotten to play a couple games just hosted by friends, and I need to start doing like the online actual scored matches, because I need to level up a little bit before the end game is introduced, because I don't know what I'm doing yet. I'm level 1 on all the characters still. So I've been playing that. Once I get better at that, I'm going to be streaming that too. I adore Dead by Daylight. It's such a cool idea for a game. I think I actually discovered H2O Delirious' channel through Dead by Daylight. I watch him a lot now. I watch cartoons a lot, who I discovered through Dead by Daylight. I watch Monto sometimes. I know Monto, I don't know if any of you have any idea who that is, but he's been struggling to get people to like follow him, like migrate from just his Dead by Daylight videos, because Monto is like a really normal guy. He's sort of like, he has sort of a flat affect. He acts like a normal person. He's not like this goofy, wacky, over-the-top like character, which is nice. It's refreshing to see people who don't act like these goofy, ridiculous, like Disney sitcom characters. But because of that, and because he's so good at Dead by Daylight, everybody watches him for Dead by Daylight. And when he switches to other games, he can't get anybody to watch anything else that he uploads, you know, him playing, because people follow him for how good he is at the gameplay, not for his personality, because he doesn't have one of these really in-your-face, over-the-top personalities that we kind of have come to expect in like YouTube or Twitch creators and anybody who does like Let's Plays and things like that. Weird tangent. I really like Monto. He's cool. But I know that's not like a horror game. Technically Dead by Daylight's probably sort of a horror game. It's exhilarating, that's for sure. But that's pretty much all I've been playing right now. This beer is not, I don't like it. It's too bitter. It's not smooth enough. I need to find that like vanilla porter that my friend had at her house. I really like vanilla beer. Cheesy Tits said, I'm glad to hear you're feeling better. I only caught the end of that convo, but I'll rewatch later. Thank you. She's so sweet. Assassin of the Grey said, no one is normal. Everyone is crazy. The only question is to what degree. Well, that's very true. That's a very valid point. And I need to stop thinking of things that way. You know, I do that a lot. I know many people do that, but it's one of those things. If I want to take responsibility for my well-being, my mental health, my sense of self, I need to be more vigilant about those things. I need to recognize those little self-deprecating things I do and catch myself and stop. Like, because other people do perceive that, you know, no matter how, yay, my muffin. Please don't do this. Okay, he left. I'm relieved. Hey, Domino, come here. Hey, Domino. Meep. My man is leaving. He's going to launch now. Who or what are you stalking? I don't know. Oh well. But yeah, like no matter how competent you are, no matter how hardworking you are, people do. Like I've worked at a variety of jobs and have been in a variety of different environments. You okay there, webcam? Enough to know that, like, if you're too self-deprecating, people do start thinking of you that way. You know, no matter how much your actual behavior or character or work ethic proves otherwise. Oh, I don't like this beer. It tastes when you don't take, like, acid reflux medication and you eat like a bunch of like tomato product and then you lay down. Bleh. It's what it tastes like. It's not good. You have bangs now. Yes, I do have bangs now. What do you guys think of them? Any of you who have seen my hair when I let it grow out and I don't have bangs, what do you think of me with like the straight across bangs? When I was little, I always had bangs, but my mom cut them for me and she cut them too short. And I would always tell her, Mom, I look like Spock. Why do you do this to me? And she didn't have an answer. She was just doing her best trying to cut my hair. And it didn't come out so good. So for a long time, I didn't have bangs. I let them grow out in like 3rd or 4th grade when when it occurred to my parents, yeah, I guess you can pick your own hairstyle. And then, hi, kitty, come here, honey. Come here, Muffin Man. Come here. Come here, Mr. Muffin. Come here, sweet boy. Come here. Come here, honey. No snuggle? It's exploring time. It's not snuggle time. Why are you doing this? Muffins. Honey. I'm covered in cat hair now. It was like halfway through high school I decided to get my bangs cut again because my favorite singer in the first music video I ever saw her in. Okay, that was my Christmas tree you just knocked over, but that's fine. At least someone's enjoying it. She had bangs straight across. And so I wanted to get my hair cut like that again. And I did. And ever since then, I have vacillated between just letting my hair grow out and having the bangs. Because it's just like... It's one of those things, I don't know, where the more often, like when you have this hairstyle, it's so much more maintenance, like you can't just go to bed with wet hair and get up in the morning and brush it and have it look kind of like wavy and normal. Like this, I have to blow dry or like use a straightener on my bangs every morning, and it's only a couple more minutes, but it's a whole like different way I have to structure my mornings and stuff. Because if these are just like all, I can't even make them look as bad as they look in the morning. But if these just dry naturally and I don't like smooth them down or straighten them, they look real bad. So, but I think with my bone structure and how freaking massive my forehead is, I think the bangs are really flattering on my face more so than just the normal hair probably. Also, Silent Hill, both are old games, but they're really good storyline-wise. I love Silent Hill. Oh my gosh. I remember the first time I watched, my best friend. He was my best friend when I was little. We're not friends anymore, unfortunately. But, I watched him play Silent Hill, I think. The first one that came out, and it was terrifying. What a cool game. Wish I could catch your gaming streams, Cheesy Tits said many moons ago. Working full-time and having a 12-hour time difference sucks. It does. Every time I'm streaming, Cheesy Tits is busy. Every time she's free, probably I'm working or asleep, because everybody just needs to move to my time zone, please, so we can all hang out. Nobody feels guilty about missing my streams, which I still think is silly. You're clearly not missing that much. You shouldn't feel guilty about doing something more important or finding something more interesting to devote your time to. But, I wish we could all hang out, and I wish you guys could catch my streams more often. So I'll just say insert Russian characters here. You okay? No, it's Hebrew. I'm reading your messages out of order, so I don't know what's happening. Oh, that's that's awful beer. Oh. Ooh, I don't like it. Oh. Self-deprecating humor is alright so long as you do not take yourself seriously when doing it. Yeah, I agree. Jamesy Anubis says, I like the bangs. Assassin says, a blonde Betty Page. Aw. The Smoking Rat said, yo, peeps, this is all. Hello. Yo. And Kenny said, hello, Mort. Just stopped by to see what's up. Not a lot, Kenny. I hope you're hanging in there. I hope everything's alright. Well, you're cute either way, really. You don't have a giant forehead, so it can work either way. Well, thank you. I disagree strongly about the size of my forehead, but thank you. That's very sweet, and I appreciate that. And you might be gone already, Cheesy Tits, but I will give all the kitties a pat from you. I will let them know that you send them your regards. A Christmas tree in May. Yeah, the thing is, it's easier to keep it set up than take it down. My plan was just to have like seasonal sort of ornaments on it, just like, I don't know, like little flowers and birds maybe in the spring and summer. Maybe in the fall just change it to more fall appropriate ornaments, and then in the winter have actual like winter or Christmas themed ornaments, and just have like a little string of lights on it all the time. But the cats obliterate the tree every time I set it up, like even upright. So I just keep it up. Like, this is kind of our big storage sort of room in our basement. So I just keep it open down here because that's easier than putting it away in a box. But I took all the lights off of it just because I was scared the cats were going to chew on them or get tangled up in them. So yeah, the tree is at rest now, and there's a cat laying in it. But it just stays up like year round. Also, we have a word in Hebrew that means congratulations on getting a new thing, but I don't know if there's an equivalent in English, so you'll just say, thank you. Thank you, cheesy tits. Lol, bitter face was perfect. Well, thank you. I don't like this beer. I don't. If it's like freezing cold, if I like put it in the freezer for a little while before I drink it, it's kind of okay, but it's just not. It's not my nope. It's not my favorite. One of the only places that sells alcohol around where I live, unfortunately, is a Walmart. We don't have any Target around. We don't have like a Giant Eagle. We have like drive-throughs, and we have gas stations, and sometimes I'll go to the like drive-through and get beer or something. But it's like these drive-throughs, the one I'm thinking of in particular, like, you will see that there's like nothing. Nobody goes around it. It's like deserted. Nobody's there but the employee for 12 hours. The second I get off work and pull in there to get like a 6-pack or something, or get some energy drinks, 20 cars pile in right behind me, and are like, people are scoffing and rolling their eyes and like turning up their music, trying to get me to hurry up. So I don't like going to drive-thrus because it's I don't like the pressure. You can't like ask them questions like, do you have anything fruity? Do you have anything smoother? Do you have any like sort of sweet red wines but not super sweet? Do you have this obscure brand that's like semi-local? They're always like, I don't have time to help you. Tell me what you want or leave. So I don't know. Like, I end up going to Walmart to get alcohol, which is deeply shameful. So it's like, when you go to Walmart, at least our like size of Walmart that we have in our little area, they almost never have the same beer twice. Like, a bunch of it's always sold out. So I'm always trying something new. There are a couple kinds that I really like. There are a couple kinds that I absolutely hate. And there are a couple kinds like this that, well, I don't hate it, but it's pretty close. No me gusta. Guacala. Ugh. Cerveza muy mala. Everything has been groovy. Good, I'm so glad to hear that, Kenny. The smoking rat says, I had a Chinese cat in my household that chewed on the tree lights. It would get shocked and then get angrier and attack the cords even more. Oh my god, it still lived to be 23 years old. That's insane. That's really something. I love that. I don't know, I've had critters that chewed on cords a lot. Mira chews on things a lot. Fortunately, they're not bad about cords, but if they're like playing in a Christmas tree, they're quite likely to encounter a cord and nom on it just because it's in the way. Mira does gnaw on things when she gets really angry. Like, if you scold Mira, or you just don't let her on your lap, or like you won't give her a snack, she runs off and gnaws on something. That's her way of like getting back at you and sulking. My bunny, Mia, I had when I was younger, obviously chewed cords because bunnies have a tendency to do that a lot. Who else? Trouble didn't chew on cords. Trouble was my ferret. She hoarded everything. Anything rubber, like the Wii remote, was always gone. It was always like 3 feet under, like a hutch for like breakables, or under the couch, or up in the couch, or things like that. Like, Trouble obviously was a hoarder because ferrets hoard things, but So far, I've been very lucky about none of my animals have chewed on cords because I'm just so scared. Like, I'm scared they're going to have like a severe shock delivered to them, you know, something that will, like, cause defibrillation or defibrillation is restarting the heart, correct? What's the word for you know what I mean. I'm just really scared that they're going to get badly shocked by something and it's not going to be good. We've been really, really lucky. We have 4 cats, all of them under 2 years old, so still kind of babies. And we've never had an incident where we're like rushing them to the vet in the middle of the night, calling the vet on call, telling them you need to save my cat's life. I'm getting there as quickly as possible. Like, that's one of my worst fears, you know, other than obviously like me or my fiance going to the ER. But I don't know. I hope everybody stays okay. Like, I know eventually a chunk of our savings will probably end up going to like some weird freak medical thing that happens to one of our cats or some, you know, hereditary thing we couldn't have predicted. But hopefully everyone will stay happy and healthy and, you know, the mischief will stay manageable and minimal and minor. I don't know. We'll find out. If you ever want to do a stream together, let me know or hit me up in DM for Doc's channel and I'll hook you up. Bonus, Magog shows up on Doc sometimes. Oh, okay. You've never... That's a total lie. I've talked to Magog in voice chat. He came on one of my streams once a long time ago. But that would be awesome. Thank you, Jamesy. I appreciate that. Because, yeah, I just need to get better at that. And the only way you do that is by practicing. And there's so many really unique, funny... just cool, relatable, unique people out there, all of you probably included, and I just need to put myself out there more. Domino, what are you doing? He is so happy. He knocked the Christmas tree down and he's just laying under it looking around. He's just been laying there silently. He's so pleased. This is all he ever wanted. Just to sit inside an artificial tree and watch the world go by. He's happy. That's all he wanted, man. That's really it. Oh, I have 50 notifications on Twitter. This is an absolute nightmare. This is a nightmare. I hate this so much. I'm never happy when I have a bunch of notifications because I'm always scared it's going to be some like massive conflict. And it's funny. It's like, as much as I run my mouth on Twitter and share opinions nobody cares about, you would think that I would be able to handle conflict better. But I'm still kind of a weenie, and it makes me anxious when it happens. So I'll have to look at Twitter later. Maybe. I probably shouldn't even look at it tonight. But there's one person who was like, hey, I think you misinterpreted what I said completely, and I need to get back to her, and I need to make sure that I either, if I did, I need to apologize, or if I didn't, I need to say so in a tactful way. So anyway, I have to check Twitter tonight. I don't want to. I will round things out. I will check Twitter, and then when I go to bed, I'll go back to like reading my fan fiction, and it will be very soothing and relaxing, and it'll be nice again. There is an astounding amount of Dead by Daylight fan fiction out there. Not that any of you needed to know that or will benefit from knowing that, but it's pretty great. I love it. I like games that continue to update and change and morph over time because that means the strange little like niche fandoms they accumulate continue to stay active, which benefits me a lot. A defibrillator resets the heart rhythm with a myocardic infarction, a heart attack. The muscles are fluttering without coordination and unable to move blood. Okay. I'm so itchy. Please stop, nose, please. So, yeah, it resets the heart rhythm with a heart attack. Okay, I see. Thank you. Domino. Hey. Hey. What are you doing? Hi. Hi, Muffins. Kitty, kitty, kitty. Come here, honey. Come here. Honey. Yeah, I love you. What? you, Muffin? Come here, honey. Are you yawning? Are you a sleepy man? I thought maybe Domino would come here if I talked to him enough. He responded. Oh, he's so sweet. He's trilling, but he doesn't want to come out. He's so happy under the Christmas tree. Maybe later. Domino never gets snuggly when I'm streaming. Like, I wish you guys could see more often how funny and lovey he is. He's such a clingy little man. But he's of course, the only times that I could show him to you guys are the times when he's being aloof and exploring and stuff. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I went to Twitter 2 times too many. Don't do it. It sucks mostly. Yeah, I know. It's I need to not be on Twitter as much. You know, like it does help. The unfortunate thing is that, like, I want my channel to grow, obviously. One, I need to be more social. I need to go on other people's channels more. I need to talk to bigger channels. If I don't get over that, my channel's never going to grow. It's just not, because how's anybody going to find me? But two, when you are really active politically on social media, it does help. You know, the more often you're tweeting, the more often you're responding to people about political things, the more often you say things that people are like, yeah, get them. The more likely people are to, like, look at your channel and see that your YouTube channels and your Twitter bio and come see it and stuff like that. But yeah, it's not a good thing for your mental health to constantly fixate on the internet and be talking to people who don't know you in real life, you know. I mean, sometimes people's hearts and minds are changed by political debate and the things they see on the internet, but the vast majority of the time, people just go there to have their biases affirmed, you know, to just kind of, like, marinate in the kind of, like, smugness of believing the same thing as all your friends and mocking people behind their backs who don't believe the same things. Very rarely is anything constructive accomplished on social media, especially in the political sphere. You know, sometimes it works, but a lot of the time nothing is accomplished. Very, very few people benefit or are willing to be open-minded. So I don't know. I need to be on Twitter less. I don't know what I need to do different. I need to read more. I need to write more. I haven't been writing a lot lately, and I normally write a lot. So I need to just do other things, at least to balance out how often I'm arguing with strangers on Twitter, and stuff. I'm sleepy. What did you say, Assassin? The paddles have to create an arc, so one on the sternum and one on the left flank as the heart leans slightly left of center line. Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's fascinating. It's fascinating to me that something that seemingly crude is the best way to reset someone's heart. You know, it's interesting to me that just delivering a massive electric shock to someone that goes through their heart does that. I don't know. It's just interesting to me that it's not something more, like, subtle. I don't know why, but it's interesting. Actually, I'm going to do a stream very soon. I might do it this week. I've had, like, everything scripted and researched for a while, but I haven't found the time to do it. I'm going to do a stream on a very, very interesting medical phenomenon soon that I've talked about a wee little bit on Twitter. I haven't talked about it many other places, but it's really, really cool. I'm saying so many ums, I apologize. The more I pay attention, the more I realize that I do that as opposed to pauses where, like, there are implied commas or just comfortable silences where I'm not scrambling to sound competent. I apologize. I need to stop saying so many ums. I'm going to do a series of streams about things that I find to be absolutely fascinating. And the first one that I'm going to do is it's a really interesting medical phenomenon to do with cardiac arrest, actually. Medically induced cardiac arrest in order to do procedures that require a more easily navigable surgical field in regard to the heart or the brain. That's a very strange way to try and like give you a teaser of something, but I'm gonna do a stream soon. I will tweet about it when I'm gonna do it. It will be about that, about a medically controlled and induced sort of form of death that's used for certain procedures where they have to have a better visibility in a surgical field, and therefore they have to stop your heart. It's really, really cool. It's terrifying and fascinating, and I love it. I left Twitter because I was shadow banned. Were you really, Uncle Jeezy? And welcome. Hello. I've been shadow banned before. Usually I think if you play dumb and you tell Twitter, hey, something's wrong, I don't think my stuff is showing up normally, or if you tell them, hey, when I search for my literal username, word for word and letter for letter accurately, it doesn't show up. Like, if you play dumb and you make it look like it's a problem with the way their website is coded, they'll be like, oh man, and they'll fix it usually. But yeah, it's one of those things where I'm on the side of us building our own alternatives, like Gab or Minds. And yeah, one of the problems is that people have become such extreme leftists that any website that does not intimidate and target and unfairly censor conservatives is smeared as like a far right, like neo-Nazi gathering ground, like Gab has been. They allow reprehensible speech from the right and the left because they believe in free speech, but because they also include the reprehensible speech from people who identify as far right, they are a far right breeding ground. They're a gathering place for, like, I don't know, all manner of evil, sick things like white nationalists and things like that. So, I mean, we are to a point where any alternative to a pro-censorship left-leaning website is going to be smeared in that way. But there are people who are upset about these sites and think that we should like try to reclaim these sites. We never had Facebook. We never had Twitter. These were websites that had the potential to be bought out and run by very leftist stakeholders from the get-go. They were never websites that emphasized free speech. They were never ours. There's no like reclaiming them, or I don't know, there's no getting them back. And I believe it was Paul Joseph Watson tweeted something today about like he tried to make the comparison of people saying, why don't you build your own alternatives to Twitter instead of whining that they're banning you. He tried to make the comparison to saying, like, why are you upset that these people have 90% of the world's oxygen and aren't sharing it with you, or something like that. And I get the point he was trying to make, but I probably disagree with Paul Joseph Watson as much as I agree with him. And I think despite the fact that he parrots talking points that I believe in, I think he does more harm than good by mixing them with videos saying that, like, depression isn't real and things like that. I think he's doing more harm than good by causing people to affiliate common sense conservative positions with these kind of absurd, very cold, almost sort of archaic ideas, like mental health isn't a real issue, things like that. But yeah, I completely disagree with Paul Joseph Watson on this issue. Yeah, any website that censors leftists and people on the far right evenly, or doesn't censor either side, yes, any website that we try to create as a free speech friendly alternative is going to get smeared. But I think that's what we need to do. That's the only thing that's going to work. And it can't be something like VidMe, because people fought and implored everyone to create VidMe accounts and support VidMe. Even if you didn't do it as an alternative to YouTube, do it in conjunction with YouTube. Help them to become an actual contender, an actual competitor. People wouldn't do it because people said, well, it's going to get shut down. It won't get enough support. Well, you guarantee that that prophecy would come true by refusing to even attempt to support this site, you know? So people are like, well, I'm sure glad that I didn't go over to VidMe because it went under. You made it go under. You guaranteed it would go under by not believing in it as a free speech friendly alternative in the first place. Nobody's saying that you need to, like, get rid of all your content, completely wipe your presence from these big platforms that do give you opportunity to get noticed, like Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying completely risk your career by migrating all of your content exclusively to some very small First Amendment friendly site. What you should do is we need to seek out or create these alternatives that are pro First Amendment, and we need to put our content there and be active there in conjunction to being active on these other sites. Because even if you're not exclusively using these other sites as opposed to these very progressive pro-censorship websites, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, you're still making a point. You are still monetarily supporting these websites by making them relevant, by making them contenders, by giving these, you know, massive monopoly websites, Twitter, Facebook, etc., giving them someone that they need to be able to actually compete against to succeed. Like, that was a really weird, long-winded tangent, Jeezy, but I think that's what we need to do. I think that we need to start supporting these alternatives. And unfortunately, it can't be things like VidMe where people are a small startup who are trying to financially sustain themselves. It's going to have to be big things that have very wealthy conservative backers, or just neutral backers, or even progressive backers who, for some reason, will benefit strategically from supporting free speech friendly websites. Like, these websites have to have enough money put in them from the get-go. They have to have financial backers well off enough that they're willing to lose money, because these sites are going to lose money. It's extremely expensive to maintain like a video streaming, hosting, and sharing site like YouTube or any viable alternative. And on top of that, there are massive organizations and entities and backers who will suffer if there are viable alternatives that, you know, threaten these massive websites, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. People want to shut any alternatives down that arise as soon as possible, because they will suffer financially and politically if there are actual alternatives, if there are actual reasons why, like Twitter and Facebook, for example, have to start figuring out how to be competitive, you know? Many extremely powerful, extremely wealthy people benefit from these sites having the monopoly, and we can't let them do that anymore, you know? So that's why I'm trying to be more active on Minds and Gab in conjunction to Twitter. And I still want to use Facebook because everybody's on Facebook. Your classmates from school are on Facebook. All of your family, all the older people that you may have taken classes with in college or worked with at different places are on Facebook. Like, you have to find some way to reach out to those people too. If you're like me and you want to remind people that not all conservatives are these awful, irrational bigots. You can be very reasonable. You can be very socially liberal and accepting and tolerant of people and still be a conservative financially. You can still support the Constitution. In fact, you know, I would argue that the best way to support minorities and underprivileged and marginalized people is by upholding the Constitution. You know, that's the best way to empower those people to overcome the odds that are stacked against them. Like, so in that regard, I'm still on Facebook because I think it's really important to remind people that there are rational, normal, decent conservatives out there, even if they don't agree with you, even if they're not very political themselves. I think having that presence and kind of just being there continuously, I think there is a benefit to it if you're like me and you prioritize, I guess, just the future of the country. Stop eating the tree. Domino, honey. That's not real. You can't eat that. It's not real. There's no nutritional value. I'll be right back. Honey. I'm sorry about my mess. Enjoy my junk pile. Hey. Stop eating it. Stop. Come here, Mr. Muffin. You stopping that right now. We're not doing that. Come here. Honey, come here for a little bit, sweet boy. Stop wiggling. Come here. This is not working. Look, honey. Muffin. He will not stay. Do you see how big he's gotten? He's so grown up. He's so grown up now. Muffin man. Okay, my muffin has left. It's over. Never mind. I had to learn those things for my writing. Oh, I see. The defibrillation into formation. Ali said, hard to call Facebook and Twitter private companies when they have such a death grip on social media platforms. Nobody else gets as much traffic. Well, I would agree with that. Like, yes, they are technically, by definition, they are private companies, but only in the barest sense, you know? They have obvious monopolies on social media, on the exchange of information online, you know, under the guise of socialization. Absolutely they do. They're massive monopolies. And if these companies had a conservative leaning, if they were right-leaning whatsoever, antitrust laws would absolutely have been applied to them years ago, you know? It's because the stakeholders in these countries, in these companies, the stakeholders in these websites who benefit from them being monopolies, many of them also have ties to the state, you know, the establishment. They have ties to progressive social leaders and politicians and people like that. They would be considered either utilities or they would be considered to be monopolies that need to be addressed by antitrust laws if they were right-leaning whatsoever. But because, you know, obviously they benefit the left, and that's why people don't care, you know. That's why the government pretends that they are, in any way but the barest sense, private organizations still. In the Army, I had so many briefings, and then, as a sergeant, had to give so many briefings on why posting anything on social media is a bad idea for compromising information. Well, that's true, too. Like, Stop eating the Christmas tree. Stop. That's wrong. Stop. Why are you doing it? Stop. That's wrong. No. Stop. Oh, he does not care. He's like unblinkingly staring at me as he eats the Christmas tree. He could not care any less. My little boy's growing into a teenager, that's for sure. Yeah, like, you know how people do those tags where it's like, if I get this many likes on my post, I will list like 15 songs I like, or I'll list like a bunch of different kinds of information about yourself. Like, social media is made to reward us for both being egotistical and being insecure, you know, which are two sides of the same coin many times. And somebody like posted one of those things where, you know, like for every additional like they got on that tweet, they would answer the next like numbered prompt, like about like how many pets do you have, where did you grow up, what's your favorite music, what's your favorite food, things like that. The person posted that, and then they responded to each like numbered question in successive tweets afterward, and like their responses were like, number 1, nice try, Fed. Number 2, nice try, Fed. Number 3, nice try, Fed. And it was hysterically funny because it's like, yeah, like we are leaping to give private corporations who are selling our money to advertise it to other people. We are leaping to give them our information, our private information that should be something precious to us, that should be something that we have the self-respect to protect. And we don't. And if people want to find things out about you in regard to like compromising personal information, they can, you know, anybody, the way they talk, the things they have expertise on, unless you're incredibly careful, you can figure things out about somebody that they would be endangered for having made public. You know, you can find those things out about people if you really put your mind to it. But we willingly give that information up and endanger ourselves. And it didn't used to be as bad of a thing, but we have come in such a short period of time to a point where civility is, it's passé, you know? If somebody believes something other than you politically, it is virtuous to assault them. It's virtuous to threaten their lives and destroy their property. Like, it's genuinely a psychosis. You know, we've gone from like the far left or the left at all being the party of tolerance and denouncing violence that the far right would enact upon gays and, you know, non-Christians, to now it's a way to be seen as more virtuous to the left if you are violent and threatening toward people who believe things different from what you believe. Like, civility is gone now. Civility has no place in the political discourse anymore. And, you know, everybody's information is online. And if you say the wrong thing or you cross the wrong person, your life could be in danger. Your children's lives, your pets, your private property could all be in danger. So it's a scary time. You know, it's not a good time to have all your information online. They also take U.S. government subsidies. Well, exactly, which is also, it should also answer your question as to why they're so biased toward a certain side politically. You know, despite the current establishment being a Republican one, the government is very much progressive. The whole point of progressivism is to cause people to feel helpless and fearful and like they need rescuing, and for the only people who can rescue them to be the government as an entity. You know, the entire goal of progressivism, Alinsky-esque like progressivism, is to look at the government as your saviors and to give all your rights over to them so they can be the benevolent protectors. What are you doing? Domino, honey, stop. Why are you doing that? This is wrong. Stop. He's so happy. He's the happiest he's ever been because he knocked my Christmas tree over and is playing in it. That they take tax dollars and have become the new public square. They must honor the Bill of Rights. Well, yeah, I agree with that. And they don't, you know. I don't know, but it's scary though, because when you start regulating social media companies on the internet, the government does not enforce fairness and what is right and wrong. You know, the bigger the government is, the more corrupt it will become, and it's become corrupt to the point where, at this point, even attempting to get the government to enforce antitrust laws as they should, to break up these massive tech monopolies, it's going to somehow result in benefits for these companies. The government is just too big. It's too corrupt. Progressivism has taken too much of a hold. You know, people have successfully been gaslit into believing that only the government can save them from themselves and from evil white people, you know? People genuinely believe this narrative that they're helpless victims, which is so, it's just sad and awful that people don't believe in themselves. They don't believe in their own strength and their own ingenuity, and people don't have a support system to where when they're in trouble, they genuinely think that giving the government more of their money and more of their rights is going to benefit them, is going to protect them from discrimination or economic hardship. Princess Bubblegum voiced. She talked the way I talked to my cats. I have never watched an entire episode of Adventure Time. Why are you doing this? Man. He's a bad, bad man. He's very bad. I have to figure out how to fix that in OBS. I don't like it. I don't like that it's on Top Chat. It should not be. It absolutely under no circumstances should be on Top Chat. We're not children here. We're not babies. We don't need everything to be fluffy and unicorns. We don't need everything censored. We don't need to be coddled. But clearly, Google does not feel that way. I'm probably going to go pretty soon. I'm getting real sleepy, and I desperately need to get enough sleep for tomorrow. So, I don't know. I didn't have any real objective when I came on other than just catching up with you guys and chatting. So, I accomplished the non-objective of chatting with you guys and catching up. So that's good. Assassin says, the regulation can be as simple as you are an American company, you are a free speech platform, therefore you must remain neutral outside of legitimate violations of the law. That would be nice. And yeah, that's a very reasonable way to phrase it. But, I mean, practically, that's never, ever going to happen. As much as it should, as much as that's right, it's not going to happen. You know, it's too late. Progressivism has taken too much of a hold. People are too intolerant and fearful and bitter and resentful and entitled. You know, that'll never fly as much as it is a necessity, you know? Or as a publisher, you are subject to lawsuits from people you wrongfully ban. Yeah. And that is something that would kind of have to deliberately be stipulated, wouldn't it? Because people like PragerU has sued some of these sites, have they not, who have very blatantly censored their content wrongfully and in a complete double standard, and they didn't win, did they? When they sued, what was it, Facebook? Google? I'm not sure what they sued. Imagine trying to like win a lawsuit against Google. Like, if you even come out of that like physically intact, you're a god, you know? You're invincible, and I don't know how you did it, and I would like you to teach me. These tech giants are dangerous. They're terrifying. And I don't know. Hi Nems. Nobody ever gets to see Nemlet. Nemmy, come here, sweet girl. Hi Nems. Hi, Nemmy. Are you snuffling into the mic? That's probably not wise. Hi Nem Nem. Nemmy is my angel baby. She's very strange and very private. And we just don't hang out a lot because she's just a very private little baby. She just likes hanging out on her own and napping. So when Nemi actually does hang out with you, it's like you feel so blessed. Hi Nemmers. Hi sweet girl. I have to be very careful. If I pet her one time too many, she'll get discouraged and leave. This is the best day of my life, and you can't see what's happening at all. Nemmerly. Hi, Nams. I love you, Nammy. I love you, pretty girl. Yay, she's kneading on me. I have holes in my leg that weren't there before. I feel so privileged. Hi, Nemmerly. Hi, Nam Nam. Nams. Hi, Nams. Hi, honey. Hi, sweet baby. She's thinking about leaving. She's probably gonna leave. I will be devastated. Oh, thank God she's kneading again. I was so scared. Oh, I'm so relieved. Nimmy. Hi, Nams. Nemi and Mira are... We set their birthday to be like June 10th because we just don't know when it was. They were just over 2 months old when I first discovered them. Nemi. No, I can't get her to look up into the camera. So anyway, they're about 1 year and 11 months old. Our 2 older girls are. Just can't believe we've had them that long. I can't believe you're almost 2 years old, little girl. Sweet baby. Assassin says, currently they are playing both sides. A lawsuit is coming that will set precedent. Yeah, and that's another thing that I don't care for. Precedent in regard to the law. The only thing that any like judge or jury should have to adhere to is the law itself. Precedent should have no bearing on what happens in upcoming cases. You know, I mean, I'm sure there's a function of that in the judicial system that I don't understand, but I do not like the way that precedent is set and all other judges have to be consistent with it in the future, as if judges aren't like hugely, vastly diverse in their opinions and interpretations of the law. Right, Nems? Nemmy's so soft. I have no idea what's going on in that little head, if anything. I love you, Nems. What do you think, Nemly? What do you think, pretty baby? I love you so much. Nems. Pretty girl. Nemmy. I love her so much. I would die for this little thing. She's such a gentle baby. Little bit strange. Kind of like the kitty equivalent of autistic. She's very different. She does not like to be overwhelmed or surrounded by socialization or noise, which is totally fair. I feel the same way. A very strange girl, Nemly, but we love you so much. I'm so happy. She like never gets on my lap. This is the best. I'm so excited. But yeah, I believe, I don't know where you guys are. I don't know how many of you have heard this previously. I have a couple new subscribers recently, but I am of the belief that our country is essentially lost in regard to democracy or representative republic principles. The founding principles that are why this country is such a miraculous one. The principles that caused this country to be such a bastion of freedom and economic success that has lifted billions of people out of poverty by being such a beacon, such a leader in regard to, free market economics. I think that that's pretty much over. I think it's lost. It's too late. People are too greedy and resentful and fearful and entitled and uneducated to save it. It's over, But I don't think that the fact that our country is essentially lost in the next several decades, I don't think that makes it okay to, sit down and say nothing. I still think the right thing to do is to fight for freedom. I think that the right thing to do is to defend our God-given rights, regardless whether it results in any good outcomes or not. If you know better, if you're awake, to use the Matrix analogy, you have to fight. That's my belief. And that's why I continue to speak up about it, even though I think it's kind of like a futile effort. I know better. And I know that sounds arrogant, and I don't mean to imply that I know everything. I know the right answer to everything. Clearly I don't. Clearly I have much to learn. And I try to work every day to humble myself enough to honestly approach issues so I'm able to admit when I'm wrong and open my mind if there are better solutions for any given issue, political, cultural, anything. But, I feel like if you know how fortunate we are to live in a country where we have economic freedom and the freedom of speech, a country where our God-given rights are acknowledged and defended and preserved, or at least where they used to be and kind of still are. I feel like it's my duty as someone who is so privileged to live in a country like this, where being bisexual, being a woman, does not limit me whatsoever in my prosperity and my ability to voice my opinions. It is my duty to speak up for people who are born in countries where having my sexuality or my gender would be a death sentence. If you wanted to speak out or if you wanted to live your own life, it's my duty to speak up and help other people who can't help themselves because they were not as privileged as me and lucky as me to be born here. And it's depressing and it's scary, and sometimes I do have to pull back and not focus so much on political and social issues. Sometimes for my own sanity, I just have to withdraw a little bit and focus on other things. But I have, I no more deserve to have been born into a country where I am so free and lucky than anybody deserves to have been born into a country where they are stoned to death for, being gay. Or I deserve to be in this country, born into such a wonderful free country, no more than any woman deserves to be born into a country where she is beaten and raped from childhood and treated like property. I do not deserve this. I am not worthy of this. And all I can do to try and make up for that is to try to speak up for people who will never You know, they'll never have the same rights I do. I say this with my goddamn Snoop Dogg glob glow gab galab background as my oh boy. Wow. That's me. This is my brand. Welcome. Welcome to my channel, friends. Oh boy. Oh, whoa. Whoa. If that cat hair goes in my eye will swell shut. So it needs to blow away. Precedent in this case means you must honor free speech if you want to maintain your platform status. Well, it would be nice if it went in that favor. Absolutely, assassin. John Wick was in The Matrix. I'm the same. Politics can be so overwhelming sometimes. Bali just passed a law that allowed stoning for being gay, didn't they? I think it was Brunei. How do you say that? Brunei? Brunei? I don't know which part of it to emphasize, but that could be part of Bali for all I know. I'm very ignorant in regard to that. But yeah, you can be stoned for being gay. You are punished to the same level for being gay as you are punished for being a rapist. I believe. Like, they passed the same laws, the same stoning laws for being attracted to certain people, you know, as assaulting people. It's surreal. That's Sharia law, though. That's what the far left wants. That's what all these LGBT people of color want. They want that to be implemented here, which is the most unbelievable hypocrisy I have ever heard. Like, no, sorry. I have nothing against Muslims. There are many moderate, tolerant, peaceful Muslims, and I love them. And they deserve the same rights that I have, the same freedoms and, you know, possibilities and prosperity that I have. But you bet your ass I'm going to speak out against Sharia law, because I don't want to be treated like a piece of property. I don't want to be brutally slaughtered in the streets for being attracted to women as well as men. I want to be able to speak my mind, because I have every right and every ability to be as analytical and involved when it comes to political and cultural issues as any man. So yeah, I kind of have stock in Sharia law not being spread here, and it's horrifying. It's freaking horrifying that in this day and age, backward, archaic, atrocious laws like that are being passed. It's horrifying. Brunei, okay, I apologize. Thank you. But yeah, because I read an article today saying that Brunei has said that they're not going to reinforce the laws of stoning gays who are found out to be gay. They're not going to reinforce those laws after the worldwide outcry. Well, that's very benevolent. That's very charitable of you to not stone gays to death in the streets, you know, to not actually enforce that law that was just passed. Thank you. Thank you, legislators of Brunei. That's really kind of you to not stone people to death in the streets. To not enforce that regulation that was just passed. Unfucking believable. Pardon my language, but it's horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying. Sorry, I don't believe in cultural relativity. I don't believe that raping little girls is acceptable. I don't believe that you should force your religion where your prophet started raping a 9-year-old little girl when he married her on everybody else. Believe whatever you want to believe, but when you start forcing that on other people, no, that's not acceptable. Forcing a belief on people where you should be stoned in the streets for who you're physically attracted to, no, I'm sorry. I have to disagree a little bit with that. I think that's a little bit kooky. Sorry if that makes me some kind of racist, colonialist, or whatever the hell you want to call me. I apologize, but my opinion on that issue is not going to change. But yeah, it's absolutely horrifying that has happened. What's your name? I apologize. Tribo? Is your name Tribo or Shribo Moldo? Brunei. Okay, thank you. John Wick was in The Matrix. I liked Keanu Reeves before he was popular. I love Keanu Reeves. I've always loved Keanu Reeves. And yeah, I'm so excited for the third John Wick movie. We just bought the first two on Blu-ray, and in 4K. And we got like the deluxe edition or something that comes with the actual coins from the movie. It's really cool. I'm like, I was gonna say I'm like John Wick, except I'm not badass. I've never killed anyone, and I'm a cat person instead of a dog person. So, you're welcome for that very illustrative, very helpful, informative comparison. Duh, Charibo with the H involved. Does someone kill his gerbil in the third one? I hope not. Really hope not. What was the movie? Is it called Polar? There's a movie with this. Is he Swedish or Danish? I don't even know. I don't know how to say his name either. Mads Mikkelsen? Is that how you say the guy's name? Who played Hannibal? There's a movie that kind of feels like a John Wick movie on Netflix with him in it. I think it's called Polar. It's based on a graphic novel. And that was an interesting movie because I feel like that movie Polar, even though it was based on a graphic novel, either it had a lot of similarities to John Wick, or they added some extra dialogue in to try to make sure that they explicitly stated from the beginning of the movie this is not John Wick. You know, I feel like they probably inserted certain little parts at the beginning of that movie to make sure you knew right off the bat this is not going to be a John Wick movie. This is not a ripoff of John Wick. This is something else. But in that movie, I think that guy is also like, there are some similarities to John Wick in that storyline and in the main character's development. It's a good movie, but his dog gets killed. I think his like goldfish gets killed. There's like a running gag where some of his pets get killed by assassins who come to kill him. Which it's tolerable in movies. Obviously, I'm one of those people like, I fiercely love animals. I have loved animals my whole life and I always will. Like, if I find out that you physically hurt animals, you should be terrified for your life, you know, once I know who you are. That's how I feel about that. But, I love you, Nemly. She's doing tiny purrs and I'm so happy. But yeah, I mean, this movie was one of those things where like, yeah, it happens, but it's tolerable. I'm of the belief where I prefer when movies have really, really bad guys. Like if you've seen Battle Royale, or if you've seen Old Boy, movies like that, movies where the bad guy is evil and sick. I like movies like that aren't afraid to make the bad guy actually bad. Like all the stupid Hollywood movies now, the bad guy is just some arrogant, rich white guy. You know, it's just some kind of like out of touch rich person. It's so utterly pathetic that Hollywood they're so preoccupied with virtue signaling to all their other little movie making friends that we know who the real bad guys are. We're demonizing white old rich people for employing people or being white or something like that they actually overlook actual bad guys. Like the kind of stuff that goes on the dark web every day, I feel like that's a little more evil than being an old white CEO. Just a little bit, you know? So I appreciate movies that have the balls to actually call out real evil. People who hurt animals or children, because I mean that unimaginable nightmare, that living hell is reality for many innocent things and people day in and day out. But Hollywood is just preoccupied with virtue signaling to all their friends about how how many like Donald Trump lookalikes they can have brutally murdered in their stupid dinosaur movies and things like that. That's more important to them than actually making movies about real evil and defeating real evil with real good. So I appreciated that movie Polar because of that, and I appreciate movies like John Wick for that reason, because obviously it's not pleasant stuff to dwell on, but I prefer movies that have the balls to actually have their bad guys actually be bad, you know, instead of these silly sort of cartoonish, very low stakes villains that are defeated in most movies that are made anymore, in Hollywood at least. Cabaret Macabre says, weird, I was completely under the impression that you had killed one or several persons with a pencil before. I've been to combat, is not fun. I'm sure she's wounded a few hearts, Scrappy says. Oh, for heaven's sake. Probably. I don't know. Not really. Like, I've never... That's not true. It's probably happened a couple times in my life. Like, far more times I've been the person who was rejected than the person rejecting someone else. And I don't know. Part of that is just because I'm really awkward, you know? I'm not very palatable or likable in a romantic way to a lot of people, or at least I wasn't in school, you know, as a kid or a teenager. You've never been happier than now that you're destroying my Christmas tree. Thank you, little man. I appreciate that a lot. And I went to a very, very small school growing up. Like, everybody knew everybody for the entire 12 years from kindergarten through 12th grade. Everybody knew everyone. You were defined by all the stupid things you did or said wrong in the past. Like, the embarrassing things you did in kindergarten or first grade haunted you and defined you for the entirety of your, like, school career. So, it was one of those things where, because I was the absolute rock bottom of the scale from popular to unpopular, if I broke any hearts in school, I certainly was not aware of it, you know? I was not privy to that fact, and, you know, the social stigma surrounding people who were, like, not super girly or obsessed with sports, followed me a lot. So, but thank you, Scrappy, that's very sweet. And Assassin said, do humans count? But I don't know what you're referring to. Because I've been rambling for so long. It's been 3 minutes since I said whatever I said that you were responding to. You popular now, though, says the VGC. I don't know if I agree with that, but I couldn't be more grateful for the people I have gotten to know due to this platform. I know social media has the potential to be awful and destructive and extremely toxic to people psychologically, but it's enabled me to meet a lot of like-minded people, a lot of really funny, cool, kind, unique people who have challenged me and stimulated me intellectually, and I'm immensely grateful for that, you know? I'd rather have like a couple really cool subscribers like I do in you guys, and a couple cool followers, friends, I think, than, you know, to be known by a lot of people who pretend to like you because it would be bad for them if they don't, or people who just like you because everyone else likes you. Like, I don't know that I'm popular, VGC. I don't know about that, but I guess I'm more popular now than I was in school. It would be hard not to be, but I guess you're right. I don't want to get up. Like, I've done this a couple times where I just, like, sit for several hours because I'm so privileged and thrilled that Nemi is sitting on me. You are so cute, Nem Nem. I love you. I love you, Nemly. She's so happy. I don't know how to show her to you without her getting up and leaving. Nems. There, you see some Nems. Nemi. Look, Nemly, look. Nemmers. Hi. Yeah, you see Nemi head. Nemi head. Yeah. Oh, do hurting humans count with regards to harming animals? I don't know. I see. I'm one of those people who, uh, a lot of conservatives don't like me or like look down on me or don't take me seriously because I like animals more than humans. Um, because I just in my personal experience, humans are awful. Human beings are atrocious. I obviously think that children should be protected, people who are innocent, who have done nothing to harm anyone else. Um, they should be protected. I when I see kids, and since I was little, I just see kids and I feel bad for them because I know what they're going to go through as they grow up and deal with this hellish world. But I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I don't think it's right to harm people maliciously. I think in self-defense, obviously, it's a completely different story, and I obviously, assault is not justifiable. Hurting people is not a good thing. It's not something that can be condoned if you're maliciously harming people. But I don't know. Humans have done nothing but hurt me my whole life, so it's hard for me to have the same
That
empathy for humans as I do for animals, Like I don't know. I I it's hard. Children are different than adults, because children are innocent, and it makes me sick to know what so many children have to go through. But I feel the same amount of rage toward people who hurt animals as toward people who hurt children. So I don't know, assassin. Make of that what you will. I'm not sure. And I know people, it's this weird kind of sad thing that's occurring in conservatism now where people think it's like virtuous to brag about how little compassion they have for animals. Like, you don't have to love animals. You don't have to think animals have souls. You don't have to acknowledge that animals have nervous systems and, measurable emotions and things like that. It's fine if you don't do that, but like, it's weird how there's this thing going on in conservatism now where people are bragging about not liking animals, or people are bragging about looking down on people who have compassion for animals. Like, that's unfortunate to me because that makes us look awful to liberals, and moderates. Like, there's nothing virtuous or honorable about not liking animals. Like, you don't have to like them, obviously, but the idea that people should be ridiculed for loving animals, the idea that you cannot also want innocent children to be protected while also advocating for animals to be protected and treated more humanely is very strange to me, Like, oh, we big old puff of hair just like spawned out of nowhere and startled me. What is your cat up to? I think Mira's off somewhere. The two younger ones are playing back there. They're like crinkling around. Nemi is just loafing on my lap, and that's part of the reason why I stayed an hour longer than I said I would, because um it's so rare. It's so rare for Nemi to sit on my lap that I'm like thrilled. I'm so honored. Kribo is how to say her name. I apologize. Kribo Moldo. I'm so sorry. I just now saw that. um but yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know. What do you think, Nemmer? Nemmer doesn't know. Um Not all kids are innocent though. Well, that's true too, Nemo. Kids can be horrible. I don't know. I mean, I hated kids as a kid. Like, I don't want kids now. I don't know how to act around kids cuz I'm never around them. But as a kid, I couldn't stand kids cuz they're horrible. Kids can be unbelievably sadistic. So I don't know. You know, I mean, yeah, kids can be awful. Kids can be abused and turn into psychopaths because if their empathy doesn't completely shut down, it will be unbearable. You know, that's the only way their psyches know to protect themselves. Kids can just be cruel and sadistic for no reason. So, I mean, you're right, Nemo. That's a good point. I don't know. All I know is that when people hurt kids, you know, like, obviously there's a difference between, like, spanking your kid. If you told them, if you do this again, I'm going to spank you, and the kind of people who hurt kids and animals and enjoy it, you know. But I know not all children are innocent. That's true. I mean, yeah, that's absolutely true. Krebo said, do insects count? I murdered a lot of ants as a child. I was kind of psychopathic. I don't know. Like, obviously, I think that all senseless death, I speak English, I promise, is a bad thing. But, I mean, obviously, insects do not have, like, they do not comprehend pain. They do not comprehend fear. They do not have empathy and compassion and the same complexity and awareness, and they don't have the depth of emotions that, like, mammals or other more complex animals do. So I don't know. I mean, my cats kill bugs. My cats have probably killed mice, and I can't condemn something like that because, like, yeah, I feel bad for bugs. Like, I don't kill them if I can avoid it, but they don't experience fear and pain. Look how red my face got just from scratching it a tiny bit. The same way. So, you know, that's not, killing ants as a kid is not like, I don't know. It's not nearly as bad. Kill all spiders, says Nemo. I don't kill spiders. I just scream till my cats eat them, which is probably not very compassionate either. I'm too scared of spiders to kill them. Like, I've killed one spider in my life on purpose, and that was more traumatizing to me than being around them unexpectedly ever was, or, like, having one fall on me. Like, killing bugs is something that I can't do. It's like, I don't know, it just makes me sick. I'm a weenie. I still go out of my way to save an insect or worm baking in the sun. That's really sweet of you. Yeah, when I was younger, I would always save wormies that were, like, on the track at school when we had to, like, run or walk on the track during gym class. Assassin said, I have yet to meet someone who does not like animals who believes in the Constitution. It's a lot of people have said that to me, but it's probably a small number of people. I've seen, like, do you guys know who Matt Walsh is? He's a journalist and, like, political commentator for The Blaze, which is Glenn Beck and Mark Levin's website / channel network thing. And Matt Walsh talked for, like, days about how he doesn't like dogs and he doesn't understand why people like dogs so much. And I respect Matt Walsh a lot, but I disagree with him on a ton. And it's interesting because Sarah Gonzalez, who is also, like, a contributor to The Blaze, she and Matt Walsh both did the same thing recently, where they said something that was kind of inane, that could easily be criticized by people, some unreasonably and some rightfully so. And then they both waited till that inane post blew up and had a huge negative or disagreeing response to it. And then they cherry-picked the absolute most ridiculous, unreasonable comments or responses to their initial post. And then they responded to those couple posts and completely ignored the reasonable replies. And then got a ton of praise from conservatives for, like, wow, you sure showed those liberal wackos. It's interesting that like, formulaically, completely coincidentally, perhaps, was something that both Sarah Gonzalez and Matt Walsh did recently. Excuse me. But yeah, Matt Walsh, like, he went on for days and days about how he doesn't understand why people like dogs so much, you know, and it's just the idea where, like, people mock anybody who says that their pets are their babies or their family. Like, one, you're mocking people who you also hope don't reproduce because they're such brainwashed leftists. You're mocking them for loving something else like children instead of making their own children. Two, maybe they can't have children. You don't know. Like me, I've got too many reproductive issues. I had a really bad health scare for like a month here recently where I thought I had cancer. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. I thought I was probably dying. Like, I have reproductive issues so bad that I could never have children even if I tried. But I still have people who occasionally come into my comments and ridicule me and call me like a leftist SJW for loving my animals and doing everything within my power, monetarily, emotionally, you know, as far as providing them with the right materials and things around the house for them to be stimulated and happy. Like, there are people who do that a lot, conservatives, and it's a very small number of them, but I'll have to go through and compile a lot of these comments I've gotten where people are angry that, like, somebody also, well, people don't have kids and they love their animals. But I've seen a lot of that, actually, given it's probably a small minority of people. But, like, Matt Walsh is the one example that comes to mind at the moment where he went on for days talking about how he doesn't understand why people love dogs so much. He just doesn't get it. He can't understand it. And some people were saying it's a shame that you don't understand why people love their dogs. It's a shame that you don't have compassion for innocent things like dogs. Or, you know, to each his own. I don't like dogs. People were saying things like that, but I understand why people do and I respect it. And then he cherry-picked the couple people who were completely awful and unreasonable and who said atrocious things to him because they were angry that he doesn't like dogs, and he only responded to and highlighted those comments, you know? And then he got praise from people saying, wow, leftists sure are wackos. I can't believe that they say those things. They pretend to like animals, but they say stuff like that. I feel bad for their pets. Like, people do that. Like, people who identify as right-wingers, people who vote Republican their whole lives, people who are political conservatives, there is a number of them. There are a number of them. Number is the subject of the sentence, so there is a number singular. There is a number of conservatives that they go around and they vocally belittle people who love their animals. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, you don't have to be some, like, blue-haired, man-hating, radical, hairy-legged feminist to love your animals. I love my cats. If it wasn't for my cats, there are many times that I would have killed myself. But because they love me unconditionally, because these innocent little things somehow think I'm worthy of their love, I stuck around. Like, I love them dearly, and the idea that you should be ashamed for loving your animals somehow, or that makes you less conservative, is just, it's bizarre. And it's sad that that's something where, like, it's one of those things where everything that happens there will be a response to. Like, people started talking about mental health and reducing the stigma around mental health, for example, but the far left took it too far and tried to assert that if you have any mental health issues, you should be treated differently. You should be given, special exceptions to things. You should be held less responsible for your actions. You should be given handouts if you have mental health issues. Or some people on the far left tried to use mental health issues as their entire identity and, like, almost fetishize it and turn it into a cultural thing. So, because the far left completely misused and warped the idea of destigmatizing mental health issues, there are people on the right who, as a response, pushed back and said, no, mental health stuff is all stuff you can overcome. That's ridiculous. You're all making this up. This is all crap. When I was your age, we didn't all cry about depression. We all did, we all got over ourselves and lived our lives, so you can do it too. And that's still a very vocal minority of conservatives. That doesn't represent all conservatives, but, it was kind of a similar thing with this, where many people on the right and left and the middle love their animals. There's nothing shameful about that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's miraculous that we have such innocent, sweet, funny, wonderful little things to love and be responsible for, that love us unconditionally in return. That's almost universally something that people understand and recognize and celebrate. But there are people on the far left who do, demonize children and say that babies are parasites, and that, even babies who are months old should be able to be aborted and stuff like that. And, there are people who are like that, who are very unreasonable and who say, I would rather have cats than babies or something like that. I'd rather have cats than babies, but I'm not going to demonize people who have children. And I think the family unit is hugely important, But because there are people like that on the far left, there are people on the right who are like, guess what? Your cat is not your biological child. Get wrecked, libtard. Stupid things like that. Like, there's going to be a small group of people who rise up and push back when something that absurd is asserted, And that's part of where this bizarre stigma has come from, where people who are like man-hating leftists supposedly all have cats. And if you have more than one cat, you're just this like smelly feminist. It's a very peculiar... I don't understand where that cultural thing has come from, where like conservatives are supposed to have dogs or no pets, and only far leftists can have cats. Like, it's very strange. I don't know where it came from, but that's kind of where I think some of this conservative pushback has come from, where some people who are conservatives mock anybody who loves animals or has cats or has pets and also doesn't have children, What you doing, Mr. Muffin? I threw away all the gummy bears. You're out of luck, kiddo. I'm so sorry. I'm just now catching up with the chat, you guys. I've been rambling for ages. And I'm losing my voice, but I'm out of beer and I didn't bring a glass of water, so I'm just asphyxiating on my own phlegm now. Very charming, very lovely. Spiders take care of pests. Well, that's very true. That's why I try to leave spiders alone. Spiders are pests, burn them all, Nemo says. Spiders are terrifying. There's something so viscerally horrifying about spiders. I don't want them around, but I try not to kill them too. If they're like teeny tiny adorable baby spiders, I will scoop it up and like toss it out in the grass. But if they're too big, I'm just terrified of them. I'm sorry, you guys. Berserk Shirt Bear said I thought Matt Walsh was Daily Wire. He might be. I know he's also a contributor to The Blaze, because I've done responses to some of the articles he wrote for The Blaze, which is Glenn Beck. It was Glenn Beck's site back when I responded to a couple articles of his, like disagreeing with them. It's Glenn Beck / Mark Levin, their network now, but I like my packs, 4-legged and 2-legged ones, Scrappy says. That's admirable. I appreciate that. Many moons ago, while I was rambling, Assassin said that Walsh is an idiot. I too think he's an idiot. I respect him, and I'm glad that he says what he says. But I disagree with him more times than I agree with him, and I think he is articulate. He's very straightforward and articulate in expressing what he believes. But in my perception of him is that he comes off as a contrarian. He comes off as just very cold and dispassionate. You have no obligation to be compassionate sounding or reasonable, but he comes off as unreasonable and just very close-minded in his tone and his writing. And I don't like dogs either. To be frank, I'm not a dog person. I think dogs are beautiful and wonderful. I've done pet sitting for people and taken care of their dogs, and dogs love me because I am an animal person. I know how to interact with animals without being overbearing, without making them feel threatened or overwhelmed. I respect dogs as individual animals, but I'm really allergic to dogs as bad as my anxiety is. I could never have a dog. I would get angry at it and snap at it and lash out, and I would yell at it and punish it when it was doing nothing wrong, because I can't be around things that are really noisy or active. So I would never have a dog because I would never put an innocent thing in that position where it would feel afraid or worried or feel like it was doing something wrong when it was just being a dog. I would not do that to a dog. I'm not a dog person. I would never have a dog. I don't want a dog. But I completely respect and admire people who love their animals, and who are dog people. There's no shame in that. There's nothing immoral about loving dogs, about having a relationship with an animal that loves you unconditionally and deeply. And I think it's pitiful that this man is so disdainful of people who love their pets. It's pitiful, and I feel sorry for him that he's incapable of that compassion for inhuman things. To an extent, I think that's pushback because the family unit is breaking down, and people see far leftists who say that their animals are their children, their animals are their babies. I think it's bizarre and asinine to be angry at people and look down on people because they say their animals are their babies. Like, if you think that telling a leftist that their cat is not their biological child is you, like, wrecking a libtard, I don't know what to say to you. I don't even know if you would understand anything above 2 syllables, so me trying to talk to you probably is not going to be conducive to anything productive. But, like, I think it's pushback to the far left saying things like that. But more than that, I think it's pushback because there are people on the far left who think children are parasites, who hate babies, who think they're disgusting, who want all of them aborted, who also say that their animals are their babies. I think that's the unspoken thing that makes some conservatives so angry. But I don't like Matt Walsh at all. I respect him. I'm glad that he has the platform he does. I think, even if I disagree with everything someone says, it's constructive of those opinions to be out there because it's stimulating to you intellectually to see opinions that differ from yours because you're analyzing, what do I disagree with about this? It causes you to have to distinguish between the tone and the actual facts being presented. The more you are reminded of the diversity of opinions, the better for everyone. But I don't like him at all. It was just strange, and it's pathetic that someone is disdainful of and can't comprehend how people can dearly love their animals and have their lives, enriched beyond words by loving their pets and having pets that love them back. It's really sad for him. Sorry, that was a really weird rambling tangent. Yeah, Krebo said weak that he went for the low-hanging branch, that is. Well, yeah, and, like, I really, really like Sarah Gonzalez. She's this really cute, sweet woman who also is kind of a contributor to The Blaze. She's, like, from New York or something, and she posted a picture of this teeny tiny little wooden spoon that you got in some cafeteria or airport or something, and she posted the picture of holding this teeny tiny little, like, baby spoon and saying, this is what AOC has done to New York. Like, your silverware is so tiny that you can't even use it, like, for the sake of saving the planet or something was her point. But it was kind of a silly, sort of asinine tweet that obviously some people reasonably criticized by saying that that's really what you're upset about. Some people who responded to her had legitimate disagreements with her, or, were able to point out that you can't directly attribute this to Ocasio-Cortez or whatever her name is. This has already been implemented for a long time. Or, some people had reasonable responses to her kind of silly tweet. Harmless tweet, though. And, like, she got massively ratioed. People were mocking her relentlessly. And way more people were disagreeing with her tweet and looking down on her tweet and saying negative things about it than were agreeing with it. So, she did say something kind of asinine to begin with, in my opinion, with that tweet saying, like, thanks, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. This is our future now, these teeny tiny spoons. And then she then started quote tweeting a few people who gave the most ridiculous, unreasonable, unfair, illogical responses to her tweet. And then because she was responding she cherry-picked the most ridiculous, unreasonable disagreements with her tweet to respond to, it kind of turned into, for lack of a better word, this, like, conservative circle jerk where people were like, wow, look at this young lady's classy response to these loony leftists, like. So it's like, it was just interesting to see within, like, a week or two of each other, Matt Walsh did this and came out the hero for, being very condescending and looking down on people who love animals. He came out as a hero. And then somebody else who's a contributor to the Blaze did something formulaically very similar not long after. Although Sarah it was a much more benign tweet that she did. It wasn't, I don't know that it was like something malicious looking for, like trolling for, like the bottom of the barrel comments to respond to look good. Maybe it was, but, she doesn't mean things in the same way that Matt Walsh does, in my opinion or in my perception. He goes out of his way to say very, very cold, unfeeling things. And then when people have emotional responses, he's able to respond to them, and they are examples of the left being irrational, and they make him look better, even if he's doing more harm than good by being so dispassionate and uncaring in his like statements in the first place that garner all those responses. I'm so sorry, you guys, for rambling so long. Assassin said, I ignore Walsh. He is a smug, arrogant, self-absorbed bore who gives conservatives a bad name. A+, Assassin. I could not agree more. Respect the dude. I would, lay my life down for his right to say what he says, but I can't stand him. I could not have articulated it in a better way. He is a smug, arrogant, self-absorbed bore who gives conservatives a bad name. True words have not been spoken. He did the same against Gamergate instead of supporting free speech. Yeah. I will, the next spider I end up having to kill or like lure into a trap where my cats eat it, Nemo, I will utter your name in honor as I do so. Yeah, Scrappy said wolf spiders love eating other spiders, but black widows no bueno. Yeah, I've seen a couple black widows. I grew up in Ohio. I've made no secret of that. And I know brown recluses are around Ohio a lot. I've not seen any, but I'm still freaked out about that because, like, from a young age, I've watched those medical shows where people have, like, whole limbs, like, the tissue, like, becomes necrotic and their whole, like, freaking leg falls off from a spider bite. So I'm, like, petrified of that. I'd rather have a spider bite me and my leg fall off than one of my cats eat a, like, brown recluse and die, because that's just how I am. But, yeah. Wolf spiders are scary because they look like chipmunks. Like, an arachnid, like this 8-legged thing that moves in the most wrong, inhuman way possible, having, like, cute little fuzzy chipmunk stripes is the most perverse, like, juxtaposition of sweet and cute and lovely and alien and evil that I've ever seen. So, like, in some ways, wolf spiders are even scarier to me than spiders that look like these horrible, like, cyborgs from hell, Excuse me. G-Nods, or Gnods, is your name just Nods, said, who doesn't like dogs? Yeah, Scrappy kind of explained it well. She prefers cats and allergic to dogs. I say I don't like dogs, but it's not really that I don't like them. I would prefer not to be around them. Like, dogs love me. And, if I ever saw somebody hurting a dog, that person would not exist anymore, within about 30 seconds of me seeing them hurting a dog. But I'm just not a dog person. With my personality, I would not get a dog and then subject it to my anxiety, because I would get angry and stressed out around a dog for just being a dog, for just barking and being active. It doesn't fit with my lifestyle. It doesn't fit with my, like, personality quirks and, my issues like anxiety. And I would never have a dog because I would never have an innocent little animal that I would end up snapping at and telling to shut up and stop being annoying when it's not doing anything wrong. Dogs deserve somebody whose personality and whose lifestyle is better suited to them being as stimulated and happy as possible. Cats are a better fit for me, and I prefer cats. But, that's just how I am. But as I was saying earlier, the idea that there's anything ridicule worthy about loving animals or loving your dogs it's pathetic. It's really sad. Red Cortez did chase around 20,000 jobs out of New York. Well, that's very true. When she rallied against Amazon, I am glad I left that city permanently. Well, I'm glad you did too, Assassin, because all of the legislation that she has put forth so far is just horrifyingly incompetent. You know, she is a parody of a legislator, and it's just the fact that she says such ridiculously ignorant, irresponsible, divisive, incompetent things, and then is defended because anybody who criticizes her completely economically illiterate policies is racist and sexist. It's just the left constantly stomping on our faces, you know? Like the fact that they would be so obtuse as to completely overlook all of her dangerous economic policies and all of her dangerous, ridiculous, incompetent legislation, and they're so sexist and racist that they can't see past her sex and her race to acknowledge any legitimate criticisms of the legislation she's proposed. It's just the left like constantly stomping us in the face, you know? Excuse me. Don't Starve 2020. Don't say Nemo with a hard R. Good evening, I love you. Thank you, Russell Jimmy, I love you too. I'm hoping you're doing well. Assassin says, I am designing military robots for my sci-fi that look like spiders, the size of a large SUV with anti-tank weapons. Well, I mean, any entity or country that has them at their disposal, I would think that any of their enemies would run screaming just at the sight of them, you know? But in some ways it's really smart, you know? If something has like 8 legs or is arachnid-like in its structure, the more legs or like support arms you have to take off for it to be, you know, incapacitated. So basically the opposite of my mom having me. I don't remember what I was saying that's in regard to. Excuse me. Lol, VGC slogan for what's her freaking name? What's KAG? What does that stand for? Don't Starve 2020. Yeah, that's Venezuela is playing Don't Starve every day, except they don't even have the bunnies. It is scary. It's sad that we're to that point in our country. You know, people are seeing what is happening in Venezuela and they're like, I want that here. The best way for me to advocate for LGBT folks and people of color is to force the atrocious conditions of Venezuela onto them. That will truly empower them. That's it's horrifying. Kill everything with more than 4 legs. Now, what if somebody has like a weird little atrophied leg or something? There might be a really cute puppy with a 5th leg. That's not fair, VGC. Sometimes things have extra legs and it's okay. I'm so sorry, you guys. Excuse me. My little Nemly is purring. I wish you guys could see Nemmer better. Nemly. Nems. See, if I lean upward... Oh, keep America great. Okay, I got you. Thank you. I want to show you guys Nemmerly, but she will get worried. Nems. Hi, Nem-Nems. Look. There you got to see her pretty face a little bit. Kill the mutant puppy too. How could you? That's too far, man. Oh, Nemly, do you have the itchy ear? Do you have the itchy ear? I don't know how to help you. I can scratch around it, but I don't want to poke you in your ear, honey. I feel so bad when cats get itchy ears, because then it's like itchy forever, you know? Like, how do you fix the itchy ear? Like some cats, if you put eardrops in their ear that your vet gives you, they still have an itchy ear. And then like their one ear is down, so they always look like a little bit disgruntled, and it's adorable, but it's like, itchy ears suck, man. I hate that. Like, I know you're not, you know, like, mommy blogs are going to descend on me from, you know, every crack in the wall and every little dark corner if I say this, but I use Q-tips in my ears. Sorry. When my ears itch, they need to stop or I lose my mind. Itchy ears are the worst. Kangaroos use its tail as a leg at times. That's true. They kind of do a lot. Kangaroos are really scary. I'm not a kangaroo person either. I'm a little bit too out of shape and meek to ever hold my own anywhere around a kangaroo. They're very scary, but they're interesting animals. What do you think, Nemini? Pretty girl. Oh, she's so pretty. I wish I could show you guys. She's so sleepy and sweet. It is so rare for her to purr, so it just... For her to be, like, laying on my lap and purring, it's just, like, I just feel so blessed, you know? I'm... Clearly, if you guys couldn't tell, I was raised Christian, and I'm still monotheistic, although I don't know, like, what religion I most closely adhere to. Somewhere between Christianity and Hinduism. Probably closer to Christianity a little bit. But I don't know how you can look at like a little animal like a dog or a cat or even like a little ferret and not feel like you are loved by God. If you believe that there is a loving creator, you know, that created us all, how is an innocent, sweet, wonderful little animal unconditionally loving you like a little cat or dog? How is that not proof that you are loved? You know, like they're just like the most pure, unfettered little channels of God's love in my eyes. They're just so utterly innocent and sweet. Aren't you, Nemmer? Until you fart. Then I feel like there are demons coming out your butt and we're all in hell. But until then, until Nemi is flatulent, everything is fine. Nemi has gastrointestinal issues, and if you like pick her up and startle her, she will ink, and you will feel like you are dying. You will think you're going blind. You will be like crying and stumbling around and like yelling for your mom. It's pretty scary. It's pretty scary, Nem, but the rest of the time, as long as she's not flatulent, everything is great. BGC says, I mean, that's not biblical, but okay. Assassin says animals can feel love. Yeah, absolutely. They absolutely can. I know some people don't think animals have souls, but I don't know how you can think that people have souls and animals don't. But, you know, that's just me. Yeah, they absolutely can feel love. They're so incredibly loving, you know? They're just so sweet and genuine. Aren't you, Num-Nums? She doesn't care. She's sleepy. Believe in Jesus, simple. Everything else is little. Yeah. Well, anyway. I can't really sit and straighten up because I've got a little chunk here. I love you so much, Nemmer. I probably am gonna go, you guys. I stayed up way later than I meant to, but it was good to catch up with you guys a little bit. And I just wanted to say hi. I hope that wasn't loud. I have a very, very tiny but steady influx of new subscribers who are coming in, so it was good to chat with some of you guys I haven't seen too much. And I hope everybody's doing okay out there. Time for bread. Cat farts are the worst, but still what they're eating. It's horrifying. I know, like, when you smell, like, canned cat food, but there isn't any around, you're like, oh, God, it's horrifying. It's funny, though. You know, they're as different as people. Like, the other cats are nowhere near that bad, but Nemi, she's, like, the cutest, fuzziest, most innocent little thing in the world. She's just, like, so gentle and happy-go-lucky. But, oh my gosh, they're bad. They're, like, worse than anything I've ever smelled. It's unreal. And it's even funnier because she's just, like, so cute you would never expect something that hellish from her. Fun to hang out. Yeah. I think so. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap up and go here pretty quick, guys. I usually like say goodbye for like 5 minutes. I'm really bad about it, but I'll try to be more brief than usual. I do really appreciate you guys hanging out. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to, and share my stuff if you'd like. I've been struggling to get any views on my last couple videos, and I'm very sad and discouraged. But I shall press on. I shall do my best. And I need to work on being on other people's channels. I know that's one of the only ways to get any bigger, so I need to get over my terrifying anxiety and do it. So I will work on that. I hope you guys have a good day or night, or if today has been kind of crappy, please resolve to make tomorrow better. I promise you, life is going to happen to you, but you can truly become an active participant in your life, and it will get better than you ever could have imagined if you choose to start living your life and letting it be yours the way it has the potential to be. Hi, Num Num. So I really hope you guys have a good day and week and stuff. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. And I think that's about it. Take care and stuff. And my kitties say hello. And they wish you all the best. And yes. I'll see you guys again soon. Good night.